Good evening. This is Brad Gustafson. I'm a longtime friend of Greg and Patty's and an enthusiastic believer in the entire mission of Genesis Diez, Rancho Genesis, and all the rest that they do. I am not an actor gifted at speaking on camera. I am a writer who writes to be read. So tonight I want to simply read for you something I have written for this occasion. These are threatening times in a dangerous season with a challenging year ahead for all of us. We are surrounded now not by wars and rumors of wars in far off and distant lands, but by death and rumors of death coming to our own streets and neighborhoods and to our own beloved communities. Everyone knows this is not a season for fancy galas and cheerleading rallies, even for the best of causes. It is a season in which time seems to have stopped for all of us. Or to paraphrase Emily Dickinson, perhaps because we could not stop for time, time kindly stopped for us. It is an opportunity we should not miss. A season for stopping ourselves to cherish truth and honest talk with each other. Shared lament about the eternal uncertainties of health and economic life. And above all, summoning one another's hope and courage in the face of the unknown. On this latter note, I've got a question to consider with you tonight around this lovely theme this year of the most vulnerable children of the world being as God's fragile butterflies. In short, I'm wondering if it isn't sometimes our own relatively abundant resources that can also feel fragile as butterflies. What will happen if we just turn our resources loose in the world, just give them away? Will the bread we cast upon the waters truly return, as the scriptures promise, in a meaningful and life-giving way for us? Of course, every journey of love has always been fraught with the same uncertainty. No one knows just how it will all turn out or how long it will take. Some time ago, I was surprised to learn that it takes 4 full generations of monarch butterflies to make their annual migratory journey from the upper United States, Canada, all the way down to southern Mexico, over the winter and then back again in the spring. Meaning that those that first venture to make the trip are the great grandparents of those butterflies that eventually return. And yet the butterfly population thrives to the aid and delight of all creation. Just because we don't know for sure what will happen doesn't mean that what happens won't be good. I do want to tell you one thing tonight that I do know for sure. When a young, severely disabled girl named Daniela died this past winter in northern Baja California, she did not die alone. I met her a year ago at her home at the Genesis Diez Beautiful Gate Orphanage, and I will never forget her. I don't know why. We talked only with our eyes. But I do know one thing. Daniela suffered greatly, but she did not die unloved. She did not die without hope. She also did not die without impacting the world. She touched my world, and maybe yours too. There is a law in physics called the law of sensitive dependence on initial conditions, and they call it the butterfly effect. If you're familiar with it, you may wonder with me whether Daniela was a small and fragile butterfly that impacted the world greatly. The world around us would say no, but those who were around her close enough to feel the swirling breezes of grace around her fragile body and beneath her broken wings, would say an emphatic yes. And where then did those breezes come from, if not from those other fluttering wings that surrounded her and supported her from near and far to the very end? Those wings fanned that grace not only out into her heart, but through her into the world beyond. And all those butterflies floating on that love from beyond us all that came to lift up her heart, even as it lifted ours. So my question for us tonight is this: if we found ourselves able to give out a Nobel Prize for an entire community which is learning to wear its heart not only on its sleeve with heart's thoughts and prayers, but also on its feet and hands and wings, with money and lumber and medical care and spiritual nourishment, what community would it be for you? And not to put too fine a point on it, I wonder if we might dare to believe we ourselves could be worthy of sharing in such a prize. So because this is supposed to be at least partly entertaining, I want to leave you with two images which are just humorous unless you take them seriously. So imagine, if you will, two caterpillars crawling up a tree, high in the tree on two sides of the same little twig, crawling step by slow step as caterpillars will. And suddenly they stop because just above them a beautiful monarch butterfly goes flitting and flying to and fro in the breeze above them. One caterpillar turns to the other and said, "Let me tell you one thing, you'd never catch me up in one of those things." And then one more caterpillar, this one is sitting having a cup of coffee at a Starbucks across the table from an old friend after a long separation. "You've changed," complains the caterpillar. "We're supposed to," replies the butterfly. So tonight, the Nobel Prize is yours to share in. Choose boldly, for we not only change the world over time by loving the world, it's also how we ourselves, at the same time, are transformed as well. With love and gratitude to Greg and Patty and to you all, what can I say but wings up